She became something impossible to protect the ones she loved, and discovered immortality comes with a price no one prepared her for. But what happens when the gift of forever threatens to destroy the family you died to save? Comment where in the world you're watching from, then let's begin. The screen fills with endless white. Snow blankets everything. Trees heavy with frost. The ground smooth and untouched. The forest is silent except for the faint whisper of wind through frozen branches. Sunlight breaks through the canopy in thin beams, and each particle of snow in the air catches the light like diamond dust suspended in time. A woman stands at the edge of a clearing. Her skin is pale, flawless, almost luminous in the cold morning light. Her eyes are bright gold, sharp and focused, scanning the winter landscape with intensity that feels both new and ancient. She wears a simple long-sleeved shirt and jeans, but there's something different about the way she holds herself now, perfectly still, perfectly balanced, as if gravity affects her differently than it used to. This is Bella, but she's no longer the fragile human girl who stumbled through these same woods years ago. She's something else now, something stronger. Her head tilts slightly, and her eyes narrow. She's listening. Not with her ears alone, but with every sense heightened beyond human capacity. The rustle of a branch half a mile away. The heartbeat of a deer moving through the underbrush. The scent of pine sap and animal warmth carried on the breeze. She moves. Not walking, gliding. Her body shifts forward with impossible speed, and suddenly she's no longer standing in the clearing. She's racing through the forest, weaving between trees with precision that defies physics. Snow explodes behind her in clouds of white powder. Branches blur past. The world becomes streaks of brown bark and white frost. Her expression is focused, determined. Her golden eyes lock onto something ahead. The deer. She can see it now, its muscles flexing beneath brown fur, its breath steaming in the cold air. She's closing the distance without effort, without sound, moving like liquid shadow through the winter morning. But then she stops, abruptly, completely. Her body freezes mid-stride, one foot barely touching the ground. Her nostrils flare, her eyes widen slightly. There's something else. Another scent. Warmer, richer, human. A hiker stands on a trail 200 yards away, oblivious to her presence. He adjusts his backpack, checks his map, breathes heavily from the climb. His pulse echoes in her ears like a drum. The scent of his blood reaches her even from this distance. Sweet, intoxicating, overwhelming. Her jaw tightens. Her hands curl into fists. Every muscle in her body tenses with restraint. The thirst rises like fire in her throat, burning, demanding. Her eyes darken slightly, the gold flickering with something darker beneath. And then another presence. A man appears beside her, moving with the same impossible speed. He's tall, with bronze-colored hair that catches the filtered sunlight. His skin shares her same pale luminescence. His eyes are the same golden amber. This is Edward. He places one hand gently on her shoulder, and his touch is enough. The tension in her body releases slightly. She exhales slowly, deliberately, and turns away from the hiker. They move together now, deeper into the forest, away from temptation. Edward's expression is proud, tender. He watches her with a mixture of relief and admiration. She did it. She resisted. The forest opens into another clearing, and suddenly they're not alone. A massive wolf stands at the tree line, russet-colored fur, eyes that glow with intelligence far beyond any natural animal. This is Jacob, though his human form is nowhere visible. He watches them approach, his body language wary, but not hostile. Bella's expression softens when she sees him. She slows, giving him space. Edward remains close to her side, his posture protective but calm. The wolf's gaze shifts between them, lingering on Bella with something that looks like sadness mixed with acceptance. The scene shifts. Now they stand outside a large white house, nestled against the forest edge. The architecture is modern, all glass walls and clean lines, surrounded by towering evergreens. This is the Cullen home. Warm light glows from inside despite the morning hour. They enter through the back. The interior is pristine, white walls, contemporary furniture, floor-to-ceiling windows that flood the space with natural light. A group waits inside. A woman with caramel-colored hair pulled back elegantly, wearing designer clothes that look effortless. This is Esme, and her face lights up when she sees Bella enter. Another woman stands nearby, petite with short dark hair styled in deliberate spikes, wearing fashionable clothes that somehow work perfectly on her small frame. This is Alice, and she bounces forward with barely contained excitement. Alice throws her arms around Bella, who catches her easily, no longer afraid of her own strength. Alice's face is radiant with joy. She pulls back, examining Bella's face with intense scrutiny, as if seeing her sister for the first time all over again. A tall blonde man watches from the corner, his arms crossed over his broad chest. His features are sharp, aristocratic, and his expression is harder to read. This is Carlyle, and when he speaks, his voice carries authority tempered with warmth. He steps forward, placing one hand on Bella's shoulder, welcoming her officially into this family of immortals. Another man lounges on the couch, blonde hair falling across his face, his posture deliberately casual. This is Jasper, and his eyes assess Bella with careful attention. He nods once, slowly, and something in his expression suggests approval. A beautiful woman enters from the kitchen, her blonde hair falling in perfect waves past her shoulders. She wears elegant clothing that emphasizes her statuesque figure. This is Rosalie, and her expression toward Bella is complicated, not hostile, but not entirely warm either. She acknowledges Bella with a slight nod before turning her attention to the large man beside her. He's muscular, with dark curly hair and a broad friendly face. This is Emmett, and he grins widely at Bella, clearly delighted by her transformation. The family gathers around her. This is her first morning as one of them. Edward stands close, his hand finding hers, their fingers interlacing naturally. The connection between them is visible in every glance, every unconscious movement toward each other. Alice suddenly goes still. Her eyes lose focus, becoming distant, glazed. Her body remains frozen in place, but her awareness has gone somewhere else entirely. The others notice immediately. They know what this means. Alice is seeing something. A vision. The future unfolding before her inner sight. When her eyes clear, her expression has changed. Concern shadows her delicate features. She looks directly at Carlyle, then at Edward. Something's coming. Something she didn't expect. The scene shifts to another part of the house. A small cottage stands separate from the main building, connected by a stone path through the forest. The exterior is charming, almost fairy tale-like, with warm wood tones and a sloping roof. This is Bella and Edward's home now, a gift from the family, a place for them to begin their forever together. Inside, the space is intimate and beautifully furnished. Soft lighting, comfortable furniture, shelves lined with books. A large bed dominates one room, even though neither of them needs sleep anymore. Edward explained that it's for her, a place to rest, to feel human, to remember what it was like before. Bella moves through the rooms with her new grace, still learning the parameters of her transformed body. She picks up a remote control, and it shatters in her hand before she realizes she's gripped it too hard. Plastic fragments scatter across the floor. She stares at her palm, frustrated with herself. Edward appears beside her instantly, gathering the broken pieces without judgment. He smiles gently, reassuringly. This is normal, he tells her through gesture and expression. Every newborn vampire struggles with control. She's actually doing remarkably well, but then both of them freeze. Their heads turn simultaneously toward the front door. Someone's coming. Multiple someones. The scent reaches them both. Vampires, but not from their family. Visitors. They move to the main house at inhuman speed, arriving just as three figures emerge from the forest. The first is a tall black man with long dreadlocks, his presence commanding immediate respect. His eyes are deep crimson red, the mark of a vampire who drinks human blood. This is Laurent, though something about him seems different from when they last met. More controlled, more purposeful. Wait, no. The features are similar but not identical. This is someone else. Someone related to the nomadic vampires they encountered before. The family assembles in defensive formation without conscious thought. Carlyle steps forward as leader, his posture diplomatic but alert. Edward positions himself slightly in front of Bella, though she bristles slightly at the protection. She's not fragile anymore. The visitors raise their hands in a gesture of peace. They haven't come for conflict. They've come with news, a warning. The leader speaks, and his accent suggests centuries of travel across continents. There's trouble in the vampire world. The Volturi, the ancient ruling coven that enforces vampire law, have heard something, a rumor, a concern about the Cullen family. Carlyle's expression darkens. He knows what this means. The Volturi don't issue casual warnings. If they've taken interest in his family, it means they perceive a potential threat to the secrecy that keeps their entire species hidden from human awareness. The visitor continues. They've heard about Bella's transformation. They've heard it was recent, very recent, and they've heard something else, something about a child. The entire Cullen family goes rigid. Edward's hand finds Bella's, squeezing with sudden intensity. Alice's eyes go distant again, searching the future for confirmation of their fears. The scene shifts once more. Now we see what Alice sees. Flashes of images, disjointed but terrifying. A massive stone castle, a throne room draped in medieval elegance, figures in dark cloaks moving with ancient grace, and at the center three vampires sitting on elevated chairs, their faces pale as marble, their eyes blood red and utterly pitiless. These are the Volturi leaders, Aro, Marcus and Caius, the oldest, most powerful vampires in existence. Alice's vision continues. She sees them traveling, moving toward Forks, coming to investigate, coming to judge. When her awareness returns to the present, tears would be streaming down her face if she were still capable of crying. Instead, her expression conveys absolute devastation. She looks at Bella and Edward with heartbreak in her golden eyes. They're coming. The Volturi are coming. And they're coming because of something the Cullens haven't even revealed yet. Something impossible. Something that should never exist in the vampire world. The camera, the viewer's eye moves to another part of the cottage. A small room decorated as a nursery. Soft colors, gentle lighting, a crib in the corner. And in that crib lying peacefully in afternoon light that streams through lace curtains is a child. She's tiny, perhaps a few months old in appearance, with bronze-colored hair that curls slightly at the ends. Her skin has a strange quality, not quite as pale as a vampire's, but not fully human either. Something in between. Something unique. Her eyes open. They're chocolate brown, warm and aware, possessing an intelligence that seems far beyond her apparent age. This is Renesmee, the impossible child, born from a human mother and vampire father, a hybrid that shouldn't exist. Bella enters the nursery, moving with absolute silence. She lifts her daughter with infinite care, cradling her against her chest. Renesmee's small hand reaches up, touching her mother's face, and when that contact happens, something extraordinary occurs. Images flood Bella's mind. Not words but pure thought, pure memory. Renesmee communicates through touch, sharing her feelings directly. The baby shows her mother what she experienced today. The sunlight through the window, the sound of Edward's voice, the sensation of her mother's heartbeat, or the memory of when that heartbeat existed. Edward enters, and his expression transforms completely when he sees them together. All the tension, all the worry, melts away for just this moment. He joins them, wrapping his arms around both his wife and daughter. They stand together in the soft nursery light, a family carved from impossibility. But the moment can't last. Reality crashes back. Alice appears in the doorway, her face grave. She's seen more. The Volturi aren't just coming to investigate, they're coming to destroy. They believe Renesmee is an immortal child, a human child turned into a vampire, which is forbidden because such creatures lack the control to avoid exposing vampire existence. The penalty for creating an immortal child is death, for everyone involved. Carlyle joins them, his centuries of wisdom evident in every line of his face. They need witnesses, he explains. They need other vampires to see Renesmee, to testify that she's not an immortal child, that she's something entirely different, something that grows, that learns, that has a heartbeat and blood flowing through her veins. The family scatters. Alice and Jasper leave first, heading to gather their old friends from the Denali coven, vampires who share the Cullens' choice to feed only on animals. Emmett and Rosalie depart in another direction, seeking nomadic vampires they've encountered over the years. Carlyle makes phone calls, reaching out to contacts across continents. Edward, Bella and Renesmee remain at the cottage, preparing for what's coming. Bella practices her control obsessively now. She runs through the forest at full speed, testing her limits. She lifts massive fallen trees, learning the extent of her strength. She focuses on her daughter's face, using that love as an anchor against the burning thirst that still flares when humans come too close. Days pass. The first witnesses arrive. A man and woman, both with the same golden eyes as the Cullens. The man is tall with blonde hair, his features rugged but kind. The woman has strawberry blonde hair and delicate features. They're from the Denali coven, distant cousins to the Cullens. They embrace Carlyle warmly, old friends reunited. But when they see Renesmee, they freeze. Terror flashes across their faces. The woman actually takes a step backward, her expression horrified. Immortal children destroyed their family once before. They watched their mother executed by the Volturi for creating one. They won't defend this. Bella moves forward immediately, placing herself between her daughter and the visitors. Her protective instinct overrides everything else. Edward tries to explain, speaking rapidly, desperately. Renesmee isn't what they think. She's not frozen in time. She's growing. She was born, not bitten. The Denali vampires remain unconvinced until Carlyle gestures for them to come closer, to look properly. Renesmee sits in Bella's arms, watching the strangers with curious eyes. Bella nods permission, and the little girl reaches out one hand toward the female Denali vampire. The woman hesitates, then allows the child to touch her face. And the moment contact is made, understanding floods through her. Renesmee shows her the truth. Memories of being born, of growing, of learning something new every day. The woman's expression transforms from fear to wonder. She looks up at Carlyle with tears of relief in her eyes. This is different. This changes everything. More witnesses arrive. A massive vampire with dark skin and an African accent, bringing tales of other hybrids he's heard of in distant lands. A pair of Irish vampires with fiery red hair, speaking in musical brogues. A solitary Egyptian vampire, ancient beyond measure, whose eyes hold millennia of secrets. Each one meets Renesmee. Each one sees the truth. And each one agrees to stand with the Cullens when the Volturi arrive. But there's another complication. Jacob returns, his massive wolf form prowling the perimeter of the property day and night. When he finally shifts back to human form wearing cut-off shorts, his bare chest displaying the heightened temperature of his shapeshifter biology, his expression is tormented. He can't stay away. Despite everything, despite Bella choosing Edward, despite his own heartbreak, despite the pain it causes him, he can't abandon her now. And more than that, something pulls him to Renesmee with a force he doesn't fully understand. When he looks at the child, everything else fades. His entire world reorients around her safety. Edward sees this. His expression is complex, gratitude mixed with lingering jealousy, understanding mixed with discomfort. But he accepts it. Jacob's devotion means Renesmee has another protector, another guardian willing to die for her. The wolf pack appears. Massive wolves of different colors emerge from the forest. Gray, black, brown, each one enormous and radiating barely contained power. They're wary of the gathered vampires, instincts screaming at them to attack these natural enemies. But Jacob, their brother, their pack member, has asked them to stand with the Cullens, to protect Renesmee, and they will honor that bond, no matter how much it goes against their nature. More vampires continue to arrive. The Cullen house becomes crowded with immortals from across the globe. An Amazon coven, 2 fierce women who move with the grace of jungle predators. Nomads from Egypt and Romania, carrying grudges against the Volturi that stretch back millennia. Each brings their own story, their own reasons for standing against the ancient authority. Bella watches them all, learning their faces, their scents, their mannerisms. She's surrounded by dozens of vampires now, and just months ago, being in the same room with one would have meant her death. Now she's one of them. Now she's the mother they're all here to protect. Training begins. The witnesses need to see what Renesmee can do, what makes her different. Carlisle organizes demonstrations. Renesmee touches each vampire, sharing her thoughts, her growth, her unique nature. Some smile with delight at the contact. Others look disturbed by the intimacy of having another consciousness brush against their own. Edward teaches Bella how to fight. They move through the snowy forest together, practicing combat techniques perfected over his century of existence. She learns to use her newborn strength, the temporary advantage that makes her physically more powerful than even the ancient vampires. She learns to anticipate movements, to read her opponent's body language, to strike with precision instead of raw force. Emmett joins them, eager to test the new vampire's abilities. He grins as he charges at Bella, expecting to overpower her with his massive size and strength. But she's faster than he anticipates. She sidesteps his rush, using his momentum against him, and suddenly he's face down in the snow with her knee pressed against his back. His shocked laughter echoes through the trees. But underneath all the preparation, all the gathering of witnesses, fear pulses through the family. Carlisle shares what he knows about the Volturi. They're not just powerful, they're collectors. Aro, the leader, possesses the ability to read every thought anyone has ever had with a single touch. Marcus can see the emotional bonds between people, the threads of loyalty and love that connect them. And Jane, the youngest and perhaps most terrifying, can create the illusion of burning pain with just a look, bringing even the strongest vampire to their knees in agony. Alice returns, but Jasper isn't with her. Her expression is haunted, desperate. She's seen more of the future, and it's worse than they feared. The Volturi aren't coming just to judge, they're coming to acquire. Aro wants Alice's visions for himself. He wants Edward's mind reading. He wants to collect talented vampires, the way humans collect rare art. And if he can't have them willingly, he'll find an excuse to destroy them and take whatever witnesses he wants from the survivors. The final days before the Volturi's arrival pass in tense preparation. Bella spends every moment with Renesmee, memorizing her daughter's face, the sound of her laugh, the way she reaches for her mother with complete trust. She holds Edward close at night even though neither of them sleeps, just wanting to feel his presence beside her. Jacob remains close, his wolf form visible through the cottage windows at all hours. The pack patrols the forest, alert for any sign of the approaching threat. And then on a morning when fresh snow has fallen overnight, covering everything in pristine white, they come. The Volturi appear at the edge of the distant tree line. Even from this distance they're visible as dark shapes against the snow. They move in formation, deliberate and unhurried. They have no doubt about their power, no fear of the assembled vampires waiting for them. The Cullens and their witnesses gather in the center of a massive clearing. Bella stands with Renesmee held against her chest, Edward at her side, Jacob's wolf form close enough that she can feel his heat. Carlisle steps forward as their spokesperson, his posture confident but respectful. The Volturi advance slowly. As they draw closer, individual figures become distinct. At the center, 3 ancient vampires, Aro in the middle, his long dark hair framing a face of terrible beauty, his eyes bright red and filled with eager curiosity. Marcus beside him, looking bored and detached, as if he's witnessed this scene 10,000 times before. And Caius, his expression cold and hostile, already convinced of the Cullens' guilt. Behind the leaders, a massive guard. Jane walks among them, a young girl in appearance, perhaps 12 or 13, with long blonde hair and an angelic face that conceals absolute cruelty. Her twin brother Alex stays close, equally young, equally dangerous. He possesses the ability to cut off all senses, plunging victims into absolute nothingness. Others follow. Felix, massive and built for destruction. Dimitri, the tracker who can find anyone anywhere in the world. Chelsea, who can manipulate emotional bonds, turning allies into enemies with a touch. Dozens more, all ancient, all lethal, all utterly loyal to the 3 leaders. The 2 groups face each other across the snowy clearing. The Volturi stop precisely 50 yards away. Aro smiles, and the expression is genuinely delighted, as if he's encountering old friends rather than vampires he may need to execute. His voice carries across the distance, surprisingly warm and friendly. He greets Carlisle by name, reminiscing about their last meeting centuries ago. He comments on the impressive gathering the Cullens have assembled. His tone suggests pleasant curiosity rather than lethal judgment. But his eyes never leave Renesmee. The child, aware of the danger even at her young age, hides her face against Bella's shoulder. Bella's arms tighten protectively, and a low sound builds in her throat. Not quite a growl, but close. Aro requests to see the child more closely, to understand what she is. Carlyle agrees, but Edward immediately steps forward. If Aro touches Renesmee, he'll see everything, every memory, every thought the child has ever had. Instead, Edward offers himself. Let Aro read his mind. See through Edward's memories what Renesmee truly is. Aro's smile widens. He steps forward eagerly, extending one pale hand. Edward matches his movement, and their hands meet in the center of the clearing. The moment of contact stretches. Aro's expression shifts rapidly. Surprise, fascination, wonder, calculation. He's seeing everything. Bella's human life, her transformation, Renesmee's birth, the truth of what this child represents. When Aro releases Edward's hand, he stands motionless for a long moment, processing what he's learned. Then he turns to his brothers, speaking rapidly in a language that predates modern Italian. Marcus looks mildly interested for the first time. Caius's expression hardens further. Aro announces his verdict. The child is not an immortal child. She's something unprecedented. She grows. She learns. She will likely reach maturity and stabilize, becoming something the vampire world has never seen before. Relief floods through the Cullen witnesses. Several of them exhale breath they didn't realize they were holding. Edward reaches for Bella's hand, squeezing with intense gratitude. But then Aro continues. While the child isn't currently dangerous, her future remains unknown. She represents an unprecedented situation. And Caius steps forward, now his voice sharp with accusation. Unknown means dangerous. Unprecedented means unpredictable. The law exists to protect vampire secrecy, and this creature threatens that secrecy simply by existing. The Volturi guard shifts, moving into attack formation. Jane's eyes brighten with anticipation. Felix cracks his knuckles with a sound like breaking stone. The witnesses, the Cullens, gathered tense, preparing for battle they desperately hope to avoid. Bella feels something building inside her, a pressure. A force she doesn't understand. As Jane's eyes lock onto Edward, as Bella sees her beloved about to be subjected to that terrible pain power, something inside her breaks free. A shimmer appears in the air, like heat waves rising from summer pavement, but visible, tangible. It spreads from Bella outward, expanding rapidly to cover Edward, Renesmee, the entire Cullen family. Jane's power hits this barrier and dissipates harmlessly. The young vampire's expression shifts from confidence to confusion to anger. Aro's eyes widen. He recognizes what he's seeing. A gift, a powerful one. Bella is a shield capable of protecting others from vampire abilities. As a human, her mind was naturally closed to Edward's telepathy. As a vampire, that protection has become an active force she can project outward. And that changes everything. Aro wants this gift. He needs it. His entire expression transforms into desperate desire. He addresses Bella directly, his voice smooth and persuasive. She would be welcome in the Volturi guard, honored, protected. Her family would be safe. All she needs to do is join them. Bella's response is immediate and absolute. No. She will never leave her family, never abandon her daughter. She would rather die. Aro's face falls, genuine disappointment darkening his features. He tries again, offering more. Anything she wants. Safety for Renesmee. Freedom for the Cullens. He's negotiating now, willing to bargain for this prize. But before Bella can respond, two figures emerge from the forest behind the Volturi line. Alice and Jasper. They've been gone for weeks and now they return at this crucial moment. Alice walks with absolute confidence, heading straight for Aro despite the dozens of guard members between them. She has something to show him, something that will end this debate permanently. She extends her hand, offering the same contact Edward gave. Aro hesitates only briefly before accepting. He has to know what she's seen. What possible future could make her return at this exact moment? The contact stretches longer this time. Aro's expression cycles through emotions too rapidly to catalog, and behind Alice, Jasper leads two others forward. A man and woman, both young in appearance, with features that suggest South American heritage. Their skin has the same unique quality as Renesmee's. Not quite vampire, not quite human. Something in between. These are other hybrids. Living proof that human vampire children can exist peacefully, can reach maturity, can control themselves. The man is over 100 years old, though he appears 25. He and his sister have lived their entire lives without exposing vampire existence, without becoming the threat the Volturi fear. When Aro releases Alice's hand, his expression has shifted one final time, to acceptance, to acknowledgement. The threat he imagined doesn't exist. Renesmee will grow, will stabilize, will become something safe. There's no violation of law here, no danger to vampire secrecy, no justification for destruction. He announces this verdict to both groups. The Cullens are free to raise their unique child. The Volturi have no quarrel with them. But he adds one condition: they will check back. In a few years they will return to ensure Renesmee's development continues as expected. This isn't freedom without strings. This is surveillance disguised as mercy. But it's enough. The Volturi guard stands down. Jane looks frustrated, denied her chance for violence. Felix relaxes his combat stance. Slowly, methodically, the ancient vampires turn and retreat across the snowy clearing, disappearing back into the forest from which they came. The silence they leave behind is profound. Vampires who haven't smiled in centuries grin with genuine joy. The Amazon coven embraces the Cullens fiercely. The Denali vampires laugh with tears of happiness streaming down their faces. Jacob shifts back to human form, and Bella can see his hands shaking with the aftermath of adrenaline. He approaches carefully, and she extends Renesmee toward him. The child reaches for Jacob immediately, and he takes her with infinite gentleness, holding her close while his entire body trembles with relief. Edward wraps his arms around Bella from behind, his face pressed against her hair. They survived. Against impossible odds, against the most powerful vampires in existence, they protected their family. Their daughter gets to live, gets to grow, gets to have the future they feared was lost. The witnesses begin to depart, heading back to their own territories across the world. Each one stops to say goodbye to Renesmee, to promise they'll remember her, to vow they'll return if ever needed again. The clearing empties slowly until only the Cullens remain. They walk back to their home together as daylight fades. The cottage lights glow warm against the coming darkness. Inside they gather in the living room, all of them, the entire family that fought so hard to stay together. Carlyle speaks, his voice thick with emotion. They faced the ultimate test and survived, not through violence but through truth. Through witnesses willing to stand with them. Through Alice's vision and Bella's gift. Through the proof that something new can exist in their ancient world. Esme adds that this is just the beginning. Renesmee will grow, will need guidance, will become something the vampire world has never seen. But they'll face that future together, as a family. Emmett jokes that the next few years should be boring by comparison, earning laughs that release the last of the tension. Rosalie holds Renesmee gently, studying the child's face with an expression that's finally fully open. No more reservations, no more doubts. This is her niece, and she will protect her with everything she has. Alice curls up next to Jasper, her head on his shoulder, finally allowing herself to rest after the ordeal of searching possible futures for any solution that didn't end in slaughter. Jasper's hand strokes her hair absently, his relief palpable even without his empathic abilities. Bella and Edward sit together on the couch, Renesmee nestled between them. The child is sleepy now, her eyes drifting closed. Her small hand reaches out, touching both her parents' faces simultaneously, sharing the feeling of safety, of love, of home. Edward looks at Bella, and in his golden eyes she sees everything they've survived, everything they've overcome, all the obstacles that tried to keep them apart, all the dangers that threatened their existence, all the moments when their love seemed impossible, and yet here they are, forever, literally forever. Bella smiles, and for the first time since her transformation, the expression feels completely natural. She's no longer caught between two worlds. She's not struggling to control her thirst or her strength. She's not terrified of hurting those she loves. She's found her place, her purpose, her eternity. The camera pulls back slowly, showing the entire family gathered in this moment of peace. Outside, snow begins to fall again, soft and gentle, covering the world in fresh white. The forest stands silent and protective around their home. And inside, surrounded by those who fought beside them, the Cullens embrace the future they almost lost. This is not an ending. It's a beginning, the first chapter of Renesmee's life. The continuation of a love story that transcended death itself. The proof that family, chosen family, fought for family, family forged in impossible circumstances, can survive anything. Bella's voice narration returns, echoing the opening reflection. I became something impossible to protect the ones I loved, and discovered that immortality isn't the gift. Love is. Family is. This moment, right now, surrounded by everyone who matters. This is forever. And forever is just beginning. The scene fades on the image of Renesmee sleeping peacefully between her parents, safe, loved and surrounded by a family that defied the oldest powers in their world to protect her. The snow continues falling outside, the lights continue glowing warm inside, and the future stretches ahead, unknown but no longer frightening, because they'll face it together.